Hi, it's Paul again, and this is really the last segment for the day, and I want to speak about agriculture. You know, when people talk about the businesses of the future, most people think it's IT, you know, computer related, something, maybe it's a new form of energy that's coming, or you know, something spacey, something Star Trekky, you know, but that's really not the business of the future. The business of the future is agriculture. Yeah, you heard me. Agriculture. That's the business of the future, because as the world, what you're going to find, and it's happening already, is that food prices are beginning to skyrocket. A time is coming when food will be more valuable than gold in real terms. A kilo of wheat will be worth more than a kilo of gold. That's coming. That's the future. Agriculture is the future. So for those of you watching who are wondering what the future holds, what sector should I invest in? What sector should I think about investing in? Well, here's the answer. It's agriculture. It's food. It's food. It's food. And as you're seeing, even with the drought and with the floodings and all the things going on in nature, where with erosion and pesticides and the problems they're causing, you're going to find more and more arable land difficult to come by. It's time for you to reorientate your thinking towards the future, and the future is agriculture. Agriculture is the next oil, it's the next boom. It's food, processed food, food that can be stored, food that can be kept, that has a long shelf life. That's the future. That's the future. That's the wealth. I mean, it's common sense, really. Because if you think about the things that we as humans can't live without, there isn't really much we can't live without other than food and water. There are people who can live without shelter, but they can't live without food or water. So it's not, you can live without a watch, you can live without a car, some of you. I was going to say you can live without a laptop, but I don't think that's possible, or live without a phone. But you can't live without food and without water. This is the future, and as the less people get involved in agriculture, the more expensive food is going to become, especially in the third world. Why they call them the third world, I don't know, because there's nothing third about their countries other than the fact that they've not cultivated what they have. You know, I originate, my parents, my ancestry is African. Africa is termed third world because they say we're not developed. So, developed to do what exactly? What are we developing into? Why can't we use what we have? Why can't we cultivate ourselves? Why can't we build our own houses? Why can't we raise our own crops? Why do we have to import food in the most arable continent on earth? Everything grows in Africa. Everything grows. People have farms in the back of their houses that grow real food that they eat. Some grow food in their houses that they sell. That's how fertile Africa is in terms of its soil. So third world, we shouldn't be third in anything. And if we should be third in anything, we should certainly not be in feeding ourselves. And yet we've got charities in the UK, we've got charities in America who actually ship food to Africa. Is that not just ridiculous? It's almost like shipping electronics to China. That's how ridiculous it is to ship food to Africa, the most fertile land on earth, simply because they've taken their eyes off what they have and they're looking at what they don't have. They don't think agriculture is innovative. You know, it's not modern. You know, let's look at IT. Let's look at all these things that the so-called developed nations prioritize. We've adopted that as well, forgetting that these nations that we call developed had an agricultural revolution. They laid that foundation already, because a nation that cannot feed itself, if you can't feed yourself, then what can you do? You can't educate yourself, you can't defend yourself, because food can be used as a weapon of war. And it's happened before in recent history, where there were food blockades because a particular region in a country was at war. So what their enemy did was that they blocked food from getting to them. Why should somebody be able to block food from getting to you if you were cultivating your own food, because they didn't cultivate their own food. It wasn't that they couldn't grow crops where they live, because they can, but they didn't grow it because they're all looking at trying to build aeroplanes. They're all trying to build airports, when even though people that live in those areas can't even eat. So who's going to fly your planes? So if they put the cart before the horse, proverbially. So agriculture, food production, food processing is the oil of the future. That is what tomorrow holds in terms of entrepreneurship, in terms of investment, in terms of human survival. Because if you cannot feed your population, that population is dead. It's food that keeps us alive. And more so in the coming years, because of famine, because of pestilence. This is the time to change your thinking and to change the way you look at agriculture. A farmer is not somebody who could not be a doctor, or he couldn't be an accountant, so he went into farming. He couldn't be a DJ, he couldn't be a singer, so he decided to be a farmer. No, the farmer holds the world in his hands because he produces the food that we all eat. You can be a doctor that has no food will soon be dead. An accountant that has no food will soon be dead. The farmers are actually they hold the destiny of the world in their hands because they feed the world. You think about that. They feed you and I. I'm talking now because I had a big lunch, so I've got energy to talk. They feed you and I. So if they stop producing, what do you think is going to happen to the rest of us? Exactly. So, in conclusion, as you're thinking about what to invest in the future, as you're wondering about what's coming, whether it's the iPhone 100 or the Android 78X cubed, the future of investment, the future in entrepreneurship is going to be revolving around agriculture and the entire agricultural value chain. That's the future, agriculture. Thanks for listening. See you again soon.